Do I watch too many anime? If there's one thing I've taken from making this video, it's that watching this many anime in one season seems borderline unhealthy. Do I have a life? Oh well, who cares? This addict has no plans of stopping anytime soon. So let's rank the anime I watched this season. My grading scale is on the pinned comment, and as always, I'm going to try and keep each description brief. Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. Sister Complex the anime has exploded in popularity and become arguably the biggest hit of the summer. Yuki might be the year's most entertaining character as she's constantly switching between preppy princess, final boss, and sister sim. It adds a fun twist to the rom-com angle with Alya constantly spilling her guts. Alya, Masha, Yuki, Aino, and Kuze are 5 great memorable characters who always keep things entertaining, and then you have these hidden layers beneath everything that adds intrigue in the background. Put it all together and you get a high quality series. We're gonna go... there's a little bit of a wide range on this. We're gonna go with Boy. Spice and Wolf. I was told this is Frieren minus the action, and I agree. Thanks, Brad. Holo and Lawrence might be my favorite duo of the season. I think I may have to join the Church of the Wolf God. Unlike Alya, there isn't much of a supporting cast here. People come and go every few episodes except the leads. It's usually these two on the road together, doing merchant work with some issues popping up. But at no point are you bored, which says a lot about how much they draw you in. This is a pretty clear-cut case of Boy. I considered Inner Circle, but we're gonna go with Boy. Shy. The end of Season 1 really hit its stride, so I had high expectations for Season 2. Those expectations haven't really been met. After a slow start, it did pick up, but it isn't anything more than fine. I'll give them credit where it's due though. Shy has well-written, fleshed-out characters with a lot of trauma being the building blocks of who they are. That's the strong point of the series and what keeps you going. Like I said, this has been mostly fine, so we're gonna go with Acquaintance. Failure Frame. I was hoping this would be the spiritual successor to Shield Hero or Arifureta in the isekai revenge genre, and to an extent, it is. The build in the first episode is really well done. That goddess needs to die a slow, painful death. However, the thing that made those shows entertaining early on is the main characters struggled. Toka, on the other hand, takes almost no damage in his supposed impossible dungeon raid, and that's the closest he ever comes to being in danger. This has a cool world and solid characters like Ceres, but they've really dropped the ball with the revenge angle because they've made everything too easy. We're gonna think about no, we're just gonna jump right into Acquaintance here. VTuber Legend. I tried to get my YouTuber fix in between this and another one on this list, and that wasn't necessary. This show is essentially a couple big titty VTubers in cosplay with literal stick figures as the rest of the cast. I'm not kidding. Oh, and the lead blows up by getting drunk on camera. I don't remember one other thing about this show and dropped it a few episodes in. This is an easy one. We're going right into Stranger. Wistoria. After seeing episode 1, I thought, wow, this is Kaiju number 8 meets MASH. I'm all for that, and it's been one of my favorite anime of the season. The world is beautiful, the visuals are gorgeous, and whether you like the characters or not, I'd be concerned if you liked all of them, you're invested. There are pacing issues. They have a tourney arc completed by episode 8, which is disappointing because the Grand Magic Festival had a lot of promise, but even rushed, there was a lot to like. Feels like we've only scratched the surface, and I'm fine with that. This one is a debate between Boy and Inner Circle, and it's not quite Inner Circle level. Pseudo Harem. This is an adorable little rom-com. Reen is a really fun character, portraying an entire harem by herself. She does this to practice her acting skills for her senpai, who she crushes on, and it works. There's a lot of silly moments and a lot of heartwarming ones. The art isn't anything to write home about, and there doesn't seem to be anything deeper going on, but it's a nice casual watch anyone could get some enjoyment out of. I'm not gonna seek this out going in the future, but it is a solid watch, so we're gonna go Acquaintance. Mayanaka Punch. I decided to give this a shot because of the YouTube ties. I don't know what I was expecting from a show about a girl who teams up with vampires to hit it big on YouTube, but early on I thought I'd made a mistake. I didn't. Episode 3 was one of the most beautiful I've seen all year, and each character really gets fleshed out by their past. Combined with their quirky nature, you actually grow to care for these characters and root for them to reach 1 million subs. This is probably the most surprisingly enjoyable anime of the season for me. I think the lesson learned here is I need to team up with some vampires. There's no doubt I would search this out going forward. This is going in boy. The Elusive Samurai. I'll give it this, the art style and animation are stunning. The characters all have their eccentricities that make them feel different. However, the pacing of the first episode was ridiculous. We went from everything is fine to everything is not fine so quick, and then moved on, and we didn't have any time to mourn or care or anything. That's the biggest issue I have with this so far. It is based on history, but that seems to be loosely done. I'm not far enough into this to say this is anything more than an acquaintance. Days with My Stepsister. I don't know what to make of this. I was expecting it to be a slice of life, and really it's a full-on rom-dram. After the first few episodes, I thought, oh wow, this is really deep. And then after a few more episodes, I started to wonder, actually, maybe this is just lazy? I don't think I've ever seen more wide shots in an anime ever, and while thematically that's relevant, we're detached like Ayase, it also feels like they're doing it for budget reasons to skimp out on the animation half the time. Then as the season went on, it started feeling deep and meaningful again, so I'm conflicted here. This is by far the toughest right now. We're thinking between acquaintance and boy. I have to go with acquaintance. I'm not sure I would seek this out for another season based on what I've seen so far. No Longer Allowed in Another World. This had an interesting setup, following a man intent on dying only to get foiled and sent to another world. But really, it's another isekai that doesn't stand out amongst the other million that have come out. Nothing is bad, but nothing hooks you or keeps you interested either. I've watched every episode, and I don't remember one character's name without looking it up. Hopefully you all remember to hit the subscribe button while watching this though. I'll give this some credit, the lead is actually hilarious. His silly out of place laughs and having people drag him around in a coffin are bits that work for me. Like I said, this is forgettable, but not bad, so we're gonna just throw this in acquaintance. My Hero Academia. It hasn't quite lived up to season 6 for me, but still one of the better seasons I've seen this year. The episode with the big three and Bakugo fighting Shigaraki is an all-timer. In fact, there have been a handful of classics this season. However, there's been some lower lows too. A few of the angles they've pushed have fallen flat, and I'll get more into it in a future video, but this season feels a little bloated. Don't get me wrong, a low for My Hero is still better than most anime, but I wish it was a bit tighter. This is still one of the better anime I've seen this year, so we're going to put this in inner circle. Our Last Crusade or the Rise of a New World. They've dragged on the love story for way too long without adding other entertaining elements. Pulling the let's lean into the sister forcing a love triangle that has no chance of succeeding has been a bust. Everything about this show feels stale, unfortunately. In the past, this had gotten acquaintance rating, but season 2 is going right into stranger, unfortunately. Tower of God. I wasn't huge on season 1, but season 2 has been legitimately good. Essentially starting from scratch with a new cast the first few episodes was ballsy, but it panned out big time. Ja and the new crew are easy to root for. Bomb has gotten insanely strong, but in a believable way, and Rachel is still the biggest bitch in all of anime. I just can't wait to see more of powerhouses like Ron the Fisherman and Gitang. I never would have thought I would be going here after season 1, which only had one memorable moment for me, but this is gonna go into boy. The Unwanted Undead Adventurer. Another interesting premise where the lead Rent dies in episode 1 and comes back as an undead. Logically, you'd think there might be some issues that come with that, except he's not really any more of a zombie than any of us glued to our screens right now. He basically has one outburst, grows more powerful and human by the episode, and lives a semi-normal life right away. What's there to get invested in? Looking through this, I'm definitely not going to watch season 2. This is going in stranger. Oshi no Ko. The visuals are, once again, on another level. God, this anime looks beautiful. Thankfully, that's not all it has going for it. Abiko, Melt, and Goa have all been worthy additions to the cast with really interesting insights into their professions, while Aqua, Akane, and Kana remain as incredible as ever. All they've really done so far is prep for a play and hit on Aqua's PTSD, and yet I've been enthralled the entire time. This is up there for the best anime I've seen this season, so we're gonna throw this in Inner Circle. Why does nobody remember me in another world? I thought the first episode of this was great. The setup came out of nowhere and really made you wonder what was going to happen next. The world and idea behind what was happening felt fresh. There have been a handful of more cool ideas too, only for all of them to fall flat. After the sweet start, this has become forgettable in every way. It's disappointing, but I think we have to go into Stranger after that strong start. Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest. Finally, the return of Fairy Tail. I'm going to go more into my thoughts in a longer video later, but for now I can say it feels like Fairy Tail. The characters remained true to themselves, that's still the heart of the show, it's fun, and there are a lot of cool moments. I like the premise behind where the show is going, and the new additions to the cast have been surprisingly strong while fitting in seamlessly. However, the Mercphobia arc moved way too quickly for me, and there hasn't been anything that's completely wowed me this season yet. But again, I'm not even halfway through. I think it's too early for me to say that this is some type of elite season, but I've clearly been enjoying what I've watched, so we're going to put this into boy. With that, I'm out.